Browns, talking birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
By Vortex Optics, with the VIP warranty, their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.
And Beautyo Books, an independent family-owned bookstore carrying one of the largest selections of birding books in the world. BeautyBooks.com.
Good morning. Welcome to our show number 869. Well, first of all, for all of us here in the East, at least from Virginia to Maine, we'd like to say a not-so-fond farewell to Winter Storm Keenan. And birds, no doubt, are just as happy to see it go. We often talk about the fact that if you don't refill your feeders, birds will not starve because your yard is only one stop on their feeding route. However, when there's snow cover, it's different because birds no longer have easy access to a lot of their natural food sources in the wild, and maybe other folks can't get to their feeders to fill them. So if you're in the affected area and you can do it, it's a real good time to get those feeders full. Bird baths too. And maybe even as radical as this may sound, provide some food for squirrels and other critters that are struggling to find nutrition in a snow-covered world. Meanwhile, it's summer in southern hemisphere places like Australia, source of another avian audio postcard that we're about to listen to from our Freya McGregor.
Hey everyone, it's Freya McGregor here. I am birding at the Seaford Wetlands in Melbourne, which used to be an old swamp, with some good friends and my parents, and that bird you're listening to chortling away is a Grey Butcherbird. It's sort of like a loggerhead shrike, but its beak is more like a kingfisher's beak, but they eat other small birds and lizards and things, and they sing really nicely. We've also seen swamp harriers and straw-necked ibis and really nice views of red-rumped parrots and some musk ducks. It's been great. I wonder what else we'll find. Bye.
Bye, Freya. Until the next audio postcard. And now... that would be the sound of our mystery bird. It's a little preview. And we do our preview here, so you'll be ready when we give the signal for the actual contest. That's the point where we urge you to call as soon as possible so we don't run out of time, as we almost do on many, many occasions. So a little preview here. Our mystery bird is a medium to large chicken-like bird of open prairies and parklands with spotted brown and white plumage, a short pointed tail that's white at the base, and rather long and rounded wings as seen in flight. In the U.S., our bird is found year-round, mostly in a northern tier of states, from Wisconsin to Washington, and extending southward into Nebraska and northern Colorado. It forages in trees in winter, eating seeds and buds and berries and leaves, and on the ground in summer, feeding on insects, especially grasshoppers. In breeding season, multiple males display at a group display site known as a lek. Lots of clues there in the sound of our mystery bird, and wonderful prizes await, including the Droll Yankees' new generation sunflower seed feeder, featuring a powder-coated finish that won't chip or fade, zinc die-cast tops, bases, and ports to last a lifetime, and a top assembly that's easily removed for cleaning. Another prize, the feather-friendly bird collision prevention kit. This is a wonderful thing to have to keep birds from crashing into your windows and becoming injured or worse. And this is a wonderful kit that really does work. It's been endorsed by lots of conservation organizations, including the American Bird Conservancy, for example. We also have a bonus question prize if we have time for our bonus question from our friends at Wisdom Supply, makers of those plastic-free books and notepads and journals for classroom and office. All coming along on our Mystery Bird contest this morning. A salute to Talking Birds ambassadors. We have two we'd like to salute this morning, and then we have a special announcement. So thanks to Brenda G. from Bridgewater, Massachusetts, just down the road from us here. Thank you so much, Brenda, for becoming a Talking Birds ambassador. And thank you to Evangeline B. from Wilmington, North Carolina. She says, I find myself telling people about Talking Birds all the time anyway, so let's make it official. And we are. So thank you so much, Evangeline. Well, Talking Birds listeners, we are so excited about the amazingly big number of listeners who have joined our ambassadors family since the start of the new year that we're encouraged to take a bold step and declare a new goal. And that is to grow the size of our Talking Birds ambassadors family to 700 members by the end of February. Just about a short month from now. So, Talking Birds listeners, will you help us reach that goal? We hope so. As we like to say, being an ambassador is easy. We send you a batch of our little info cards, and you hand them out at your convenience to friends and neighbors, fellow birders and would-be birders, and you'll help us do what we're trying to do, spread the word about birds and conservation. It's super easy to sign up for, too. Just click on the Get Involved tab at the top of our talkingbirds.com website. So here's the thing. There are now just about 660 members in our ambassadors family. So we need to sign up 40 more ambassadors in the next month. If you've ever had even an inkling of becoming an ambassador, this would be an especially good time to do it and help us reach that goal of 700 members by the end of February. Please join today if you can. And once again, you can do it just by clicking the Get Involved tab at the top of the website there at talkingbirds.com.
There's no G in talking.
Still to come on our show today, we'll catch up with Mike O'Connor in the Let's Ask Mike special pre-Valentine's Day installment, almost live from the archive. And up next, can a bird be left-handed or right-handed? Our featured feathered friend can. It's presented by Birdwatching Magazine. For more than a quarter century, Birdwatching has been North America's premier magazine about wild birds and birding. Today's featured feathered friend segment poses this multi-part question. What bird can be right-handed or left-handed? Not only has a bill, but is named after someone called Bill. Lays self-cleaning eggs and goes by the nickname sea pigeon. The bird that's the answer to this question is the one that sounds like this on its far northern breeding grounds. It's the black guillemot. This seagoing alcid, related to murres, dovekies, auklets, and puffins, carries fish it catches lengthwise in its bill, with some individual birds apparently always preferring to carry them facing left, and some others preferring to always carry them facing right. The black guillemot is called the sea pigeon because in its winter plumage, the bird is a patchy gray and white, similar to the plumage of the rock or common pigeon. In breeding plumage, adults are a deep black with white wing patches that are visible when the wings are folded. The name guillemot comes from the French, where the pronunciation would be something like Guillemot, deriving from the name Guillaume or William. And self-cleaning eggs? Yes. Stephen Portugal from the Royal Veterinary College in London discovered this after he accidentally spilled some water on some eggs he was studying and noticed that the water beaded up into droplets and fell off when the eggs were bumped. He determined that the external surface of the eggs had nanoscale cone structures on them, like micro-miniature mountains, that make the water bead and keep the eggs clean in their messy cliffside nesting areas. Keeping the eggs clean helps the embryos inside breathe. Other guillemot species lay these self-cleaning eggs too. A group of guillemots is known collectively as a bazaar. The reason is unclear, and so is the reason why they're also referred to as a loomery of guillemots. It's the left-handed or right-handed self-cleaning egg-laying sea pigeon, or you can call it bill. It's Cephus grilla, the black guillemot, today's Talkin' Birds featured feathered friend. Welcome again to our show number 869. Thanks for being with us. Michael Herbin is an intrepid birder from Minnesota who doesn't let low vision slow him down, and that is an understatement, as we're about to find out. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Ray.
Wonderful to have you on with us, Michael. Thank you. And while you're in the middle of, or past the middle now, of a very extraordinary birding quest, and I will ask you about certainly details about that in a moment. But first, I thought maybe I'd take you back, Michael, to when you were 26 years old, and you were a graduate student in physics, and you kind of had a spark bird experience, right?
Yeah, I was one spring day out studying in the park, and I just noticed this woodpecker that was on the ground, and I thought that was kind of surprising. I didn't know anything about birds, and I just thought, well, I need to know what that's called. So I went to the bookstore and got a Peterson field guide and looked at the pictures and figured out what the bird was, but then I looked at all these other pictures and said, well, I've got to see the rest of these. So I was suddenly obsessed. Yeah. Didn't see that coming.
That's interesting about the field guide, because that was kind of my experience too, just looking in there and just being kind of knocked out by the number and variety of birds that there were to see.
Yeah, and then within a few months of that, I ended up meeting my future wife, who it turns out had been a lifelong birder already. So that worked out really well.
Nice. Well, that was the good news, and then, of course, you had some difficult news after that in the form of, that low vision that we referenced there.
Yeah, so within a few years of that, I realized that my vision was getting worse, and ended up getting a diagnosis eventually. What I was noticing is that I was losing my ability to see in the dark, and that I was having trouble seeing to the sides and the periphery. And it was a diagnosis of a genetic condition called retinitis pigmentosa, which affects about 1 in 4,000 people. It's a regressive condition. Nobody in my family had any eyesight problems, but within a few years, it had progressed to the point where I basically have what's referred to as tunnel vision. So I can see 20/20 right in the middle of my field of view. The problem is that field of view is very small. It's about the size of your fist if you were to hold your hand out at arm's length and make a fist. So if a bird gets in that window, I see them just fine. But if they're not in there, I don't see anything.
All right. Well, that's where hearing comes in. And I think, if this is right, you had kind of a spark experience having to do with hearing in a trip to Ecuador, right?
Yeah. I try to see as many birds as I can, and depending on the context, if we're looking at a lake with waterfowl or a mudflat full of waders, and you've got the scope and the birds are just out there, it's really not too challenging. But in a dimly lit forest somewhere like Ecuador, where you've got so much vegetation and vines and whatnot, and these skittish little birds that don't want to be seen to begin with, I really struggle to pick those up, even when other people are getting them. So I learned some time ago that if I was going to continue with my quest to identify at least half the species in the world, that I would have to start birding by ear more. And I've actually come to enjoy that as much as seeing birds now.
Well, you've just said it just right there, seeing half the bird species in the world. That is your quest. That is amazing. And where are you in that process?
When I got the diagnosis with my eye problems, my response initially wasn't, very positive, but I thought, I'm not going to let this run my life. I'm going to go at it head on and set a very aggressive goal. So I'll always have something to push myself to do, and hopefully inspire other people that have disability of whatever kind to keep going after, whatever it is that they're most interested in.
So half the birds in the world, bird species, is 5,400?
Yeah, I'm depending on the taxonomy, I'm looking to try to hit about 5,400.
And you are how far away from?
I'm at 4,649 today.
Wow. And you started when?
Well, about 30 years ago was when I started birding, but we've really accelerated it. I would say in the last 15 years or so. I've been very fortunate. Obviously, this is something that takes a lot of saving and planning, and I managed to position myself at my work, which was a high-tech company that has factories in Asia, to where I got in a position that they had me living overseas, my wife and I both, in Bangkok, Thailand. So we were able to use that as a jumping off point to be able to get a lot of this birding done.
So that far along on your quest right now, where to next?
More South America, I think. We've done really great in Brazil, and there's still a lot more that we need down there. And I think Brazil, we still have another Africa trip that we need to complete, and I think then we'll be getting very close.
All right. Well, you have an advantage over a big year, for example. You don't really have a deadline, right? You can keep going.
That's right.
So
that's right.
That was a smart idea, I think. Why lock yourself into that time frame there? I like that. Well, we're almost out of time, Michael, but I wanted to ask you about your blog. It's legallyblindbirding.net. A lot of great stories and essays, marvelous bird and birding photographs. Tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah, thank you. And, I've written also for the Birdability blog. In fact, I was found about a year ago by Freya McGregor, who is obviously big on your program, and she's also in Birdability. And so I've joined her organization there and been involved, and that to me has really kind of brought this full circle, because now with Birdability, I have the opportunity to try to help other people with whatever kind of disability or access challenge to enjoy birds as much as I have, because it's made such a dramatic difference in my life.
Birdability.org. We love the organization. That's our own Freya McGregor. They're a major part of that. And your site again there, legallyblindbirding.net. Really, really worth checking out. Michael, thank you so much for being with us. Congratulations on your efforts so far, and good luck
thank you very much.
That goal of yours. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Michael Herbin here on Talking Birds. And up next, it's our Mystery Bird Contest in just 1 minute. The flutter of a tail feather, the flash of a wing bar in mid-flight. You don't always have a lot of time to identify a bird in nature, let alone to appreciate its beauty. But with Vortex Optics, you'll have the power to bring every wild moment closer. When you choose Vortex, you're choosing to have a partner in the field as passionate about nature as you are. Whether you're spotting old friends on the backyard feeder or packing for a once-in-a-lifetime trip to add a few species to your life list, Vortex offers a full range of optics and optics accessories for every birder and every budget. And whether the birds are taking you to another state or another country, you're always covered by the Vortex VIP warranty, an unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. If you'd like to learn more, or if you need help choosing your next optic, give Vortex a call at 1-800-4VORTEX or visit vortexoptics.com. If that sounds familiar, we played it a few minutes ago. It's our Mystery Bird. This is our actual Mystery Bird contest now, and this is the place where we say, please call us as soon as you can. It's a little phenomenon that we observe here, that we get folks calling in after the show has ended, which doesn't work out well for our Mystery Bird contest. So we urge you to call as soon as you can, like right now, if you can. The number to call is 781-837-4900. I'll give the number again in a moment, but the clues for our mystery bird are this way. Our mystery bird is a medium to large chicken-like bird of open prairies and parklands with spotted brown and white plumage, a short pointed tail that's white at the base, and rather long and rounded wings as seen in flight. Here in the U.S., our bird is found year-round, mostly in a northern tier of states from Washington to Wisconsin, and extending southward into Nebraska, northern Colorado. It forages in trees in winter, eating seeds and buds and berries and leaves, and on the ground in summer, feeding on insects, especially grasshoppers. In breeding season, multiple males display at a group display site known as a lek. So those are the clues and the sound of our mystery bird, and beautiful prizes await, including That Droll Yankees new generation sunflower seed feeder with the powder-coated finish that won't chip or fade, and lots of other wonderful attributes that Droll Yankees is proud and justifiably so to present. And our other prize is the feather-friendly bird collision prevention kit to keep birds from crashing into your windows. And by the way, this does not obscure the view of humans looking outside, but birds can see these strips. Easy to put on there, and really a good thing to do for birds. So those are the prizes, and if we get to a bonus question, that $20 certificate from Wisdom Supply will also be part of the mix here. And that number again is 781-837-4900. That's 781-837-4900. Meanwhile, we'll check in with Mike O'Connor, and this is an archived segment, so you'll hear the dates relating to Valentine's Day not matching up with 2022, but that's because it's an archived segment of Let's Ask Mike in just 1 minute. Beauty-O Books carries one of the largest selections of birding books in the world. New, used, and rare books covering everything from backyard birding to general ornithology, from field guides to photography skills, biography, fiction, and humor. You'll find it all, along with the knowledgeable customer service you've been looking for, in one convenient place. BeautyOBooks.com. B-U-T-E-O. BeautyOBooks.com.
My name is Billy Cantwell, and I'm calling from Knoxville, Tennessee. I became a Talking Birds ambassador because I've always loved sharing my passion for birds with others. So this was just a natural progression. Don't miss an episode.
Talkin' Birds listeners, we hope you'll join our ambassadors family. Just visit our website, talkinbirds.com. Click on Get Involved at the top of the homepage, and then choose the Become an Ambassador option at talkinbirds.com.
We connect now to Cape Cod, and there is Mr. Romance himself, Mike O'Connor, at the famous Birdwatchers General Store.
That was my nickname in college, Ray, by the way.
Birdwatchers General Store?
No, Mr. Romance.
Oh, Mr. Romance. You think I didn't know that? I mean, everybody knows that. I used to live on Cape Cod, Mike, so I know all that stuff.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That was famous. And here's something I didn't know, that Talking Birds had its own aviation investigation department. I didn't know that.
I had forgotten that myself. We have so many departments here that, you can't remember them all. But, yeah, of course we have
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. So, okay.
Well, thanks for calling.
You're welcome. Yeah, there was a topic here somewhere. We're a week ahead of Valentine's Day, and being Mr. Romance, you, of course, would be, early rather than late. For Valentine's Day.
Oh, no kidding. Well, I was just wrapping my wife's heart-shaped suet feeder that I was getting her for Valentine's Day. And I thought,
just
birds.
What she wanted. Yeah?
Those are popular, by the way. Birds, a lot of people like the idea of birds mating for life. Some do, some don't. But when you think about it, birds, courtship rituals aren't much different than ours. We traditionally will bring each other food, like, historically men will bring a box of candy, but birds will do that. They'll bring a treat to their prospective spouse.
Mm-hmm.
The cardinals will bring a sunflower seed to its mate. Mice will bring a mice. Owls will bring a mouse to its mate, which is, maybe as good as candy. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, that is romantic. No, a dead mouse. Oh, come on.
You can't get better than that. And sometimes they'll drop it, or sometimes they'll actually put the food in there, which maybe not during the pandemic anymore, but they used to. They'll drop the food down. And then there's dancing, of course. We've all seen cranes dancing. I wish I could dance that well.
Mm-hmm.
Some even dance in water, right? Western Greaves, you see the old Disney not cartoons, but nature movies about the Western Greaves running across the water.
Those are spectacular to see.
They're crazy, right? Yeah. Right. Yeah. I can't do that either.
Jeez, how'd you get to be so romantic? Well, we probably shouldn't go into that.
The show's not long. Not on a Sunday morning. And they hold hands. How about this? Bald eagles, right? They fly high above it, really soar up together, and then they grasp each other's talons. And you ever see that footage where they spiral down?
Oh, yeah. I thought that was when they were fighting, but maybe it's a little of both. I don't know.
I think it's a mating ritual.
It's a mating thing, okay.
A mating ritual, yeah. And then, of course, there's kissing. Can we say that on the radio? I don't know.
I think you can say
kissing is puffins. They do that billing where they just kind of touch each other's bill and back and forth. Yeah. It's all kind of similar to us. Yeah. But when it comes to marriage, again, it's similar to us. Some birds are together forever. Swans, geese, believe it or not, owls. They get one mate, and they stay with macaws. Macaws don't even leave each other's side once they pick a mate. Wow. They spend all day, all night, year-round. Then there's other birds that mate for life, like albatross, but they don't see each other all year. They meet on the breeding grounds, and then they take off, and they spend the rest of the year thousands of miles apart, but every year, boom.
That reminds me of, do you remember Steve and Edie?
Gourmet?
Yeah, exactly. Steve and Edie, what was his name, though? It was Steve something and Edie Gourmet. But anyway, they were married for decades, and people said, how did you do that? And they said, well, we never see each other. So it's easy. Yeah.
It was Steve Albatross.
Steve Lawrence. Steve Lawrence. Steve Lawrence
Albatross.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, there's some birds that just kind of one and done, one season. Robins, for sure. Mm-hmm. They're together for the season, but then they drift apart, and then they hook up with something else. And there's some birds that are just, real players, like hummingbirds or blackbirds. They have several mates in the course of the summer. So, those are the ones that are out there. Those are the ones that are, that have a gold chain around their neck and cologne.
Yeah, the pinky ring. They got that.
And then there's divorce. Even a good pair, even a good solid pair of birds will get a divorce if they for whatever reason. But oftentimes when they just aren't successful mating, because really it's not about true love. It's about keeping the species going. And if they're unsuccessful, then sorry, pal, we're moving on.
That's it. All right. There's all these variations. There's polygamy, and there's polyamory, and there's polyandry, and there's one. I don't know if you knew about this one, Mike.
No, tell me what this one is.
This was only for parrots. It's called polywanacrackery. I don't know if you've heard of that one, but.
Okay. Can I write that? You're going to have to launch the Aviation Investigation Department to get more information.
We have another department for that, but
well, happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Happy Valentine's Day a week early to you, Mike, and we'll see you next week.
You got it.
All right, do a little clarification, by the way, kids in case. Valentine's Day is February 14th.
Birdwatching Magazine has a new membership program. Benefits include detailed bird ID articles from Ken Kaufman and David Sibley, tips and stories about bird photography, access to quarterly e-workshops on identifying and photographing birds, and complimentary print and digital subscriptions to Birdwatching Magazine. Learn more at birdwatchingdaily.com/memberships.
We're back to the Mystery Bird Contest while we have a bit of time here. 781-837-4900 is the number to call. And Ruben is out there in the great city of Chicago. Good morning, Ruben.
Hello.
Hello, Ruben. I think you missed the big storm that we had, did you?
Yeah, I think we did.
All right, well, you can check on that and let us know for sure. But what about our mystery bird, Ruben?
So I think it's a vulturine guinea fowl.
A vulturine guinea fowl. I don't think that is that correct? No, that is a heck of a guess, though. But, Ruben, thank you so much, and try us again, all right?
Okay, great.
Okay, all right. We have Annette. She's somewhere in Vermont. Good morning, Annette.
Good morning. How are you?
I bet you got a little snow, did you?
Actually, we are too far west, and we missed it, but it's about 20 below this morning.
Sorry to hear that. How about our mystery bird, Annette? 20 below. What do you think it is?
I think it's a sage grouse.
Sage grouse is very close, and we're going to flip the cards and make you our winner because we are out of time because you're so close there. The actual thing was the sharp-tailed grouse.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much.
I learned something new.
Stay on the line, Annette. Thank you. And we are so out of time. Thanks for being with us. See you next week.
The bird show. I like that.
Ray Brown's Talking Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
By Vortex Optics with the VIP warranty. Their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.
And Beautyo Books, an independent family-owned bookstore carrying one of the largest selections of birding books in the world. BeautyOBooks.com.